Is up, everybody? How's it going? You know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by my song of the day, Rock 2000 to today. What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's your Tuesday going? Or whatever day you're listening to this, because, well, I hope you're listening to this many, many times. Or just once. Actually, once is fantastic. Alrighty, so this is episode 17 of the Chord Progression Podcast, and we've got some good stuff to get into today because, well, this previous weekend, Motionless In White released their 5th album, Disguise, and I wanted to talk about it. I had a guest lined up, friend of the show, friend of the podcast, friend of the project, name's Maddie. However, she backed out due to personal reasons, and I totally understand. However, I needed to find a guest. I believe it was episode 12 where I had Motionless In White fan, her name was Cadence, on the show. And she absolutely killed it. So I thought, you know what? Let's see if she wants to do this. Let's see if she wants to be back on the show. See if she wants to talk about the album, as big of a Motionless In White fan that she is. And she said, hell yeah! So we're going to talk about that as well. And before we do, we have to go into our shameless plug section because we are brought to you by my song of the day, Rock 2000 to today, the best rock community on the internet. So, yeah, why aren't you a part of it if you're not? If you are a part of it, thank you. If you're not, what are you doing? Go check out our Facebook page because that's where we run everything through traffic-wise. And, I mean, you're just going to be up to date on everything we do. Follow our Twitter page at Rock2000 to today because we go through and connect with you guys on everything music. Follow our Instagram page as well because we do the exact same thing, connecting with you guys, but we do a lot of other things too, like our IGTV videos, which come out every single Tuesday night, which is more behind the scenes look, and our Instagram live videos, our live streams, every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central, where we talk to you guys and get into a full-on conversation with you for about an hour, and I just go live. Also, check out, the podcast, which is right here. If you're listening on YouTube, that's fantastic. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Play, I'm loving you guys right now. So thank you for subscribing to it. And also, well, we got a YouTube channel too. So go check that out where we do the album reviews, the band reviews. We'll have the full album review of Motionless In White's Disguise on there as well, along with the rating for the album on a scale of 0 to 10. I said at this point, when it comes to 0, think about it in N64 terms. 0 is Superman 64. 10 is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Also check out our Amazon Alexa skill, where you can actually listen to all the music. So you can check out, new bands that you might not have heard of. You can rediscover old bands, and you can just find new songs. It's a great way to start your day, great way to get through the middle of the day, great way to end your day, and every single day the song refreshes so that you can get a new song every single day. And they never get stale. Plus, I get to pick them all, so it's happy, and I like it. And this past Saturday, we started out with our Small Band Saturday project, which I'm happy to report to you guys that I'm already booked through the end of August with this. I am psyched. There are a lot of great small bands that I've heard music from, and I cannot wait to show you guys and feature them on the project, on the skill, on everything. I think you guys are really going to like them. So, enough with the frickin' shameless plugs. Should we give a call to Cadence? Because I feel like we really need to. But let me turn up the volume first on my phone because otherwise, let's just put it this way. That's not going to go well. Alrighty, so we're going to give her a call. Let me just send a message over there. So, I'm going to, just so that she knows. Alrighty, should we give the call? Let's call Cadence. Did I say Maddie earlier? I meant Cadence. That's my bad. All right, let's see what we got. And hopefully the phone starts ringing. Let's see if we can hear it. Okay, at least we can hear the phone through the soundboard.
Hello?
Hey, Cadence?
Yep.
Hey, it's Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. How are you this evening? Because for all you who don't know, we're shooting this on a Saturday night.
I am good. Been tired.
Good yet tired. That sounds like me pretty much every single day of my entire life, honestly. I mean, I wake up, I'll get sometimes 2 hours of sleep, sometimes 6, and I just go. So I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, this is your second appearance on the podcast. Your first appearance was one of our more popular episodes. I think it was second most popular episode. Our previous one where we featured the band Ascending from Ashes, they kind of took that top spot. So you think you can take that back take your crown back?
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, well, the main reason for you being on the podcast today is because, well, Motionless in White dropped Disguise on Friday, and we gotta talk about it because that's the biggest thing that happened in music this week.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, so I gotta ask you, just give me the top level view. Just give me, whatever you think about it. What'd you think about Disguise?
I haven't stopped playing it.
Alrighty, so that's some high praise right there already. So keep going.
Yeah. I really like it, honestly. It has a lot of meaning to it if you listen to the lyrics. Like, really sit down and focus all your attention towards the music. You can hear how deep the lyrics actually get. And that's one thing I really, really like about it.
Oh, trust me, I was pretty much focusing on that as well, especially because when it comes time to really do an album review on something like this, it takes a lot of time to really put something like that together due to the fact that I listened to it once because, well, I want to actually, listen to it once as a fan due to the fact that I think that's the best way to go about it as the first time. Then I start listening more for how the song is constructed, the instrumentation, the melodies, the tempo, whatever key it's in, and then I'll really focus in on the meaning of each song and really focus in on the lyrics. One of the things that Chris actually said about the album was going to be their heaviest record to date, but it was also going to be a little bit different. So I think the difference really comes in is it's not as heavy as Creatures in terms of flow and in terms of style and just how they play. But in terms of the content, especially within the lyrics, holy shit.
Yeah, that's whenever I heard Headache, that was the first one that came on the album on Spotify. I was like, holy crap, this is so much different.
Yeah, it really was compared to, the first song that was, if you listen to the album through and through, the first one that showed up was, of course, the lead single, Disguise, which, when I listened to Disguise the first time, I thought this is picking up right where Graveyard Shift left off. So I was really happy with that going forward. And then we jumped into Headache, and that intro bass was something that, at first I'm like, okay, this is something that's really bringing me into this song. And from what I've heard from a good amount of people, this is actually one of their favorite songs on the record, not just from you, but from a lot of other people on Instagram as well.
Yeah, I really like Headache because I can really relate to it in a way because people are annoying. And he literally says sometimes he wants to slit someone's throat, and I'm like, yep, same.
Yeah, but when I was listening to it, one thing I really took off of it was it kind of sounded like, when you're talking about a headache, kind of talking about, pain within your own head. It sounded like there was like something sounding like, stuck within your own head that's trying to get out and kind of break through you. It's whether it's, something that's positive that's trying to break through the negativity that's surrounding your mind already, or, your mind is positive and there's negativity trying to bust through that as well. And it's kind of all about a change within your head.
Yeah. And I think that he did a really good job at trying to get away from a person that you're not to having stuff going on inside your head. Like, from Disguise to Headache, those kind of correlate in a way, if you really think about it.
They really did, and they weren't the only two songs to really touch on those kind of topics as well. I'm trying to see what other... Legacy also kind of touched on that a little bit. Holding On to Smoke touched on that, and... I'm trying to think if there was any other one. I thought Broadcasting from Beyond the Grave somewhat touched on that as well, but we can get to that a little bit later just because, we've gone through Disguise a little bit, we've gone through Headache a little bit, and we've still got, 9 more songs we still have to go through.
Yeah.
And we can go really deep into some of these too, especially because I feel like there's like 3 or 4 more later down the album that I really want to get deep into and really get your thoughts on because, again, two different perspectives, two different lives, seeing how they relate to these songs, especially. So that's why I'm really interested in hearing your take. I'm gonna jump to Code. What did you think of that one? Just because I was a little thrown off by it, and I kind of disliked the track.
I can't. I like the song. Like I like the beat because that's what I listened to at first. I listened to the beat, and if I like the beat, I'll quite possibly like the song. I like the beat, and the song's okay, but you can't really tell what he's saying. But until you actually close your eyes and completely focus, like nothing else around you, just focus on that.
See,
But
one thing that I was doing was actually, if I couldn't figure out what was really going on, just okay, let's go online, let's go to A to Z lyrics and let's type in the song and let's just see what comes up so I can actually understand what is really going on here.
yeah,
And that was still kind of tough too. I think the biggest reason why I kind of disliked this song was when I've listened to Motionless in White in the past, especially all the stuff off of Creatures, Reincarnate, trying to think of some other ones, America, and then a good amount of stuff off of the Graveyard Shift album, including Voices and Eternally Yours. The band is able to pack this sort of punch that just really penetrates, kind of penetrates into your mind, penetrates into your soul, and just hits you hard with that kind of uppercut style. And this song, it just didn't have that flow. It kind of had more of a softer, more polished tone to it, so
yeah.
that it kind of just there wasn't any kind of real punch to it. It just kind of fell flat, in my opinion.
Mhm. I think that was one of the more softer ones, wasn't it?
It was. There were a couple other softer ones on this in comparison. However, this is one of the softer ones where I don't think they did that good of a job on. I mean, granted, I get, you're trying to experiment with some certain things on here, and at times when you go with that softer style and you go with that more melodic approach, it can work. 'Cause I've seen some bands get real successful off of that, but in this
Yeah.
case, I really didn't see them hitting that mark at all.
Yeah, I'm used to them being more hardcore and like more up, you know, instead of like slow and
Kind of like more intense and with a faster
yeah,
tempo.
yeah,
All right, I kind of see where you're coming from there as well. Yeah, this song just really didn't have that in there. And of course, when you're going through, the first three songs on the album, this is where concerns started really funneling in for me because, again, listen to Disguise, and I knew what Disguise was all about due to the fact that we've been listening for about 2 months already.
yeah,
Listening to Headache kind of followed suit. I didn't think it was as strong of a song as Disguise was, but it followed suit in what Disguise was going for. And then they jump into Code, and it just completely kind of changes it up in terms of what they were doing. And this is where I got nervous because what I've seen a good amount of bands do this year is, your first song it comes out hard and it grabs the attention of people. But then the rest, in mostly throughout the first half of the album, they kind of go softer. They kind of go with a more pop-centric tone to really kind of try and maybe potentially drive record sales or to, try something new, which again, if that's what they want to do, that's totally fine. That's the way they want to go about it. But that's something I really just was kind of worried about at this point due to the fact that I've seen that happen with multiple bands already this year, one of them being I Prevail.
yeah.
So
Like,
I want to get your take on that. What do you think about that, especially when you're going through the album, when you got to the end of this song? What were you concerned about the way the rest of the album was going to turn out, or were you still confident that this was going to be a killer album?
I mean, I was kind of nervous since that one was slow. I was kind of nervous that more of them were going to be that slow, as slow as that was, because I'm not used to that. But as I got through, I can't remember what the next one on the album is.
The next one is Thoughts and Prayers.
Okay, yeah, as soon as I got into that one, I was like, okay, I'm kind of I'm kind of feeling this. Like, Code's okay. It's slow, but as soon as you get into Thoughts and Prayers, it's more upbeat and you start to feel better about it.
Now, when Thoughts and Prayers kicked right in, I thought, okay, now we're getting right back on track. It had that
Uh,
Creatures vibe to it as well.
yeah.
And I will not lie. Again, listen to this album probably like I can't remember how many times at this point, and undeniably, Creatures or not, Thoughts and Prayers is my favorite song on the record.
Yeah, mine's Headache, like, in all honesty.
I've seen a lot of people talk about this album, and I kind of find myself as the enigma because I really like Thoughts and Prayers, and there are a lot of other people that are like, yeah, it's a good one, but it's not our favorite. And I've seen a lot of other favorites bounce back and forth. So I'm kind of like, wait, I'm different? Woohoo!
Yeah.
And this one kind of, what Thoughts and Prayers, it really jumped back into bringing Motionless in White back to that, what I thought was what they lacked in Code was that penetrating punch that they can really hit with their music. It was back in this song specifically.
Yeah, because you listen to Disguise, then Headache, and then Code comes on. You're like, so this is slow. And then Thoughts and Prayers comes on, and you're like, oh, well then, hi. Because it's kind of like an old friend you haven't seen in a while.
How
That's
so?
strange.
How so? Because
Okay.
I'm a little confused by that.
Like, say you have this friend, and like your friend represents Disguise and Headache, and they're they go off somewhere and change and become Code. Well, then they go off again, come back, and then they're back to their same person that they used to be, which would be Thoughts and Prayers. So they like leave and change to something that they're not, and then leave again, but come back and they're back to their like self that they were originally.
See, kind of using that sort of an idea, I thought they really kind of would actually end up doing that more. Is now looking at the album as a whole, they did that a good amount where they kind of jump between it back and forth at times.
Yeah.
And sometimes I respect the experimentation. I respect them trying new things, and at certain points they went with that softer sound or a more slowed down, not necessarily calmer sound, but just kind of more, yeah, slowed down would be the best way to put it. And sometimes I thought it worked, and sometimes I didn't. And again, we'll get to that as we go through the song, but I really want to focus on one more thing with Thoughts and Prayers. Did you really take a look and take a listen to the lyrics and really see what Chris was trying to get at on this one?
I did, and now that we're talking about it, I can't remember a single thing. But
just kind of escaped you at the moment?
yeah, that usually happens. I don't know why.
Well, when I first took a look at this one, I saw the name Thoughts and Prayers, and one of the things I could think about was, anytime some sort of a tragedy happens, whether it's a national tragedy or something like, say someone within someone's family unfortunately passes away or something bad happens, an accident or whatever it might be. And there are people that can really affect change and really affect, making sure that either A, this doesn't happen again, or B, the people affected are, taken care of. But a lot of the times, you see stuff on social media or people saying, oh, we're sending thoughts and prayers. And I thought this was really calling out, not the people who are, can't really do anything about it and want to show their support, but the people who can do something about it or help out and just kind of say, oh, we're sending the good vibes, we're sending the thoughts and prayers. It's like, well, are you really doing anything? You're actually probably doing a disservice because there's no action in there. You are taking the inaction route, and this kind of calls that out, which is something that, ever since a lot of this, crazy stuff's happening, again, explosion on social media with a lot of people's voices, I felt like this was a great message, especially the way that Motionless in White put it out, especially the way Chris wrote it.
Yeah. Like, sometimes just sending what am I even trying to say? Like,
just kind of sending some sort of a gesture just to take an initiative that's not just, thoughts and
Yeah,
prayers, because especially with a lot of people doing that nowadays, it's kind of become dumbed down. I'm not gonna say it's, well, not dumbed down, just kind of lost a lot of impact, where the point
yeah,
is, saying if say something bad happens to a person, or where, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you can't really do anything about it, but you say, oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, and just kind of say something. But like, I'll say, if you need anything, please feel free to give me a call or let me know, and I will do whatever I can to help you out. That, I mean, at that point, it's like, well, I know you can't really do much, but you're showing an effort, and you're really showing that you care, instead of saying, oh, I'm sending thoughts and prayers.
yeah. See, now that's kind of what I was trying to say, but it's late and I'm tired.
Don't
And
worry. Don't worry. I've been up since I'm trying to think. It was either 5:30 or 6:30 this morning. I don't remember anymore.
I've been up since 12. Jeez. I can't imagine how tired you are.
I'm pretty sure I kind of call myself a mutant or an X-Men, and it's like, well, what's your superpower? I'm like, I don't sleep. I just go 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 go. I just run off of pure adrenaline. I'm pretty sure that's how it works at this point.
If I sleep for hours at a time.
I can't do that. I don't. I think I mean, I slept 8 hours on Memorial Day, but then before that, I couldn't even tell you the last time I slept 8 hours. It was probably when I was on vacation, and that was in February.
Oh, wow.
I know
Yeah,
I'm absolutely ridiculous.
well.
Alrighty, well,
Uh,
moving on to the next one, because then Legacy popped up, and this is one where I really thought they took that experimentation and really put it out there for everyone to see. So I want to get your take on it. When it came to Legacy, what did you really think of this song?
it was good. It really, like, it put out a message, and I really liked it,
Well, what kind of a
honestly.
message? What kind of message did you think the song put out?
No matter, no matter what happens, always try to make yourself have something to look back on. I don't know, just what I think it means. Like, make a legacy of yourself. Or,
Interesting, because I kind of had a little bit of a different take on it, but it kind of intertwines into what you're saying.
yeah,
So what I kind of thought of it was, this is again one of those call to action ones, because I think what again Chris was trying to go for in this one, in a sense, was, again, people are always talking about, you want to do all these great things, you want to build this, you want to go after something, you want to travel, you want to be this, business tycoon, or you want to have a family, just whatever you want to do in life. And there are a lot of people that say they want a lot of things and say they have all these ambitions, yet, I mean, 90 to 95, 98% of these people that, say a lot of these things, when it comes down to it, they end up honestly just kind of sit not doing anything about it. And it really makes you reflect on what you've been doing so far. What will your legacy be to yourself? Forces you to reflect on what you're doing to really achieve the goals that you say you want. And it makes you think, am I actually really doing that, or am I just saying it?
yeah.
So what do you think of that? Like, do you think that really fits into what this song was really going after, or do you think I missed the mark on that one a little bit?
Honestly, I can see where you're coming from. Like, he wants he wants you to do something about he wants you to do something about whatever problem you're facing, instead of just sitting on your butt and not doing anything about it. And yeah.
Yeah, see, that's again exactly what I was going for. The this one, again, when I was talking about experimentation, when I was thinking about, like, okay, this song doesn't necessarily sound like it's all fully motionless in white. It sounds like they've tried to play it off and really talk and go into different bands' kind of influences and sounds and try and play with those. And I think this is a song that they really focused in on two bands that I can really tell from. When I was listening to the chorus, I kept thinking, you gotta be kidding me. Like, where have I heard this kind of a chorus from? And this might sound weird, but it sounded like it could be perfectly constructed if you fit it into a Skillet song.
I never thought of that.
But then again, that is specifically the chorus. The rest of the song, though, and I think that Motionless in White really tried to play with this kind of a style as well on multiple songs throughout this album, was Breaking Benjamin style. Because with Breaking Benjamin, they can go with that hard feel. They can go with that hard feel, and they can still have a message and a sound that really penetrates you, much like Motionless in White does, but a much more, not a little bit softer and a much more slowed down pace.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
mean,
this one really kind of went for it as well.
yeah. I mean, they did say that this was going to be an album unlike any other.
That is true, and they said it was going to be harder, but not in the way we were expecting.
Yeah. Definitely not what I was expecting.
I don't think anyone was, especially, you take a look at what they've done on Graveyard Shift, what they've done on, I'm trying to think of some of the other albums, Creatures, and then I can't remember the two names in the middle. I know someone's going to end up ridiculing me for that one. Probably you.
Infamous?
But I can't think of the other one. I can't think of the names.
Was it Infamous?
Yeah, if Infamous had to be one of them, shoot. You know what? Let me just see if I can quickly pull them up. I've got, Infamous and Reincarnate.
Yeah. I was like, I know I have all these written down.
Or either I'm pretty sure for you, you probably got them etched on the side of your brain somewhere where it's like, okay, if I need these, they're right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I really do.
All right, now overall, just because I was really looking at this one, with that, it kind of sounded like it had that softer tone to it, where they kind of went to that Breaking Benjamin style on this one specifically. Did you think they kind of went that route, or do you think they kind of went in a different route, especially with Legacy?
Now that you mention it, I could hear Breaking Benjamin in there, like where they make it sound, hardcore, but it's also a lot softer and smoother. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it makes it.
No, it makes total sense because that's the Breaking Benjamin style. It's softer. Yeah. It's softer. It's a little bit more slowed down, so it has a little bit more of a smoother feel to it, but it still hits you just as hard.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was going off with that, and then I was getting kind of curious, especially after Legacy, because if they're kind of starting to experiment with this, what does the rest of the album hold?
Is there any more slower songs? I cannot remember.
Oh, yeah, there is. And I'm just going through the songs in order because I thought that might be the best way to go about it. Just to really get into it. There is one song that is considerably slower, in my opinion, that they did on this one. And I feel like I'm going to go off on a tangent on that one, so I'm going to wait till we get to that one. So the next song on this was the third single off this, the sequel to Undead Ahead 2.
Okay, hands down, love it.
Actually, okay, so can you expand on that a little bit more, just because I know how big of a Motionless in White fan you are. I just, again, as a follow-up to a song they did on their original album, can you give me a little bit more insight on it?
Honestly, when Undead Ahead 2, I didn't know there was a first one. And when Undead Ahead 2 came out, I was like, it says 2, so there must be a first one. So I went back and found the first one, listened to it, and then I went and listened to this one and was like, I like this. And I think, isn't it from the Headless Horseman? That's where it kind of comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like a big, I love the Headless Horseman story. And so I really liked this song because I could see the correlation. Oh, frick.
All right, I can see where you're coming from. This was definitely probably the song, again, the closest that we heard on this album to what they did on Creatures. But then again, that's what's going to happen when you get a sequel to a song from that album.
Yeah. And honestly, like I said, I really liked it. It was like perfect amount of hardcore for my taste.
I can see where you're coming from on that one. On my end, at first when they released it as a single and I was listening to it, I kind of really listened to it a couple of times and then thought, I really didn't get into it. But as I was listening to it as a part of this album, I started liking it a little bit more. I still don't think it's their best song on the record. I think it fits more in the middle of it, maybe more towards the bottom rung. Just because I
Yeah,
really wasn't a big fan of, again, when you're talking about, you come out with a song called Undead Ahead too, it's gonna be compared to the original all the way. And that's kind
yeah,
of a fault on probably my end as well because I kept comparing it to the original and I thought, it's fine, but it just doesn't hit it as well. The one thing I like what the song did was it really showed that, Chris is able to still have that vocal range and hit those notes that he was able to back in 2011.
yeah. Which I think is impressive.
Oh, it easily is, especially if
Yeah,
consistently singing those unclean vocals for. I mean, we heard Creatures back in 2011 for the first time, so that was their first album release. I mean, it's been 8 years since then, but I don't really know how long they've been doing this beforehand, or how long Chris has been doing this beforehand.
yeah. Honestly, I like I said, that's impressive because you know he's growing up and his voice is changing. Like some people have a more like a normal, lighter voice throughout their man years, but as they get older and like into their senior years, it either deepens or heightens. And so it's cool how, as he's getting older, his voice is able to stay the same.
There really is, because there's a lot of other front men out there, front women out there. When, again, like you said, as they get older, their voice slightly changes. I'm gonna use a couple of as an example, David Draymond of Disturbed, because when you first started listening to him, he could hit a lot of those notes, but lately, especially with his voice, I think it's just gotten a little bit lower in the
Yeah,
past 5 years or so. So it sounds a little bit more melodic in a sense. But then I get a guy like I'll put Tim McElrath of Rise Against up there, where when it comes to those consistent, he can't hit those consistent screams anymore like he did back on their Rise Against his original two albums. However, I thought his singing voice over the past couple has actually improved. So it's kind of, you get a little bit of a difference in there, where it's very rare, like you said, to have a voice that is, you can still have that consistent sound and you can still hit all those notes that you used to hit and hit new ones that you weren't able to hit as well, and just kind of grow your voice that way, which is
yeah,
very unique.
yeah. Sometimes that does happen. Sometimes you change and are able to do stuff you used to not be able to, or you change and can't do any of it. And honestly, yeah, he's able to do stuff he did back in, you said 2011.
I was going to say, let's just be thankful that it went the route of he's still able to do this stuff instead of the route of, maybe he can't do this anymore, because that would have sucked.
Yeah, I mean, he did start off really young, which is good.
Yeah, that is good, but then the other concern comes in too. Now, this is going to be a concern later down the line, is what happens when you can't hit all those notes the way you used to. So then that's actually going to change the way all your songs and all your composition is done. Which we
Ooh,
haven't hit that point yet, but we very well might, just because who knows what might happen.
yeah,
I mean, I hope it doesn't.
honestly.
I don't think you hope it does either.
No, I really don't. I mean, I'll be fine with it either way because it's Chris. I mean, he's good at what he does, and he'll always be good at what he does. It may not sound the same, but nothing's gonna stop me from listening to him.
Oh no, I think the biggest telltale sign of how that might end up going is, I mean, I think it's gonna be told through live shows. I think it's gonna be told specifically through performances of Eternally Yours, just due to the fact that that song goes through so many different changes with Chris's unclean vocals to his, kind of half and half to his clean vocals to more of a singing voice. It really varies all throughout it. And if he can still hit everything on Eternally Yours, then he still has it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he actually said I was either an interview or in like the commentary for that album that Eternally Yours is like his second favorite Motionless in White song of all time and his favorite one to perform just due to how many different ranges he's able to use with his voice.
Yeah.
Well, which makes me happy because I really like that song.
Yeah, and honestly, it's one of my favorites too.
I mean, it might be a fan favorite. And next time, make sure you get that frickin' rose and don't let anyone stand in your way. I'm still going to tell you that.
I will throw hands.
If you need to throw feet, throw feet. Throw some legs. Chop them.
I'll throw my body.
Or headbutt. I mean, I'm not sure if you want to, go that far, but if you could, I'd say go for it.
I'll go to any length.
Yes.
My stepmom. You know how I got the pic from Justin?
Yeah.
Well, my stepmom was like, I should have turned around and been like, mine won't die.
Oh, that'd have been a good one.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, then hopefully next time they can throw you a rose at Eternally Yours, or probably they might have roses for some of these other songs too, because it's how impactful some of these get, and we'll get into those. All right, so next, now we're about halfway through the album, Holding On to Smoke. This one, I thought they, again, took a little bit more of an experimentation route on this, using, again, that Creatures vibe, but then they really kind of slowed it up a little bit, actually a good amount, in my opinion, to, again, kind of get that Breaking Benjamin style. And that chorus on this one, my mind went immediately to, this has to be a Breaking Benjamin influence, because the chorus sounded a lot like I Will Not Bow.
The chorus is in All My Pride, All My Shame, right? I'm looking through the lyrics right now.
I know, I'm going to have to pull them up too, because I don't remember off the top of my head.
I see that twice right now. Yeah, I see it 3 times now.
Yeah, then it's got to be that one. So just the way it was constructed, it was like I can really feel that exact same kind of style. So I think they took the influence from Breaking Benjamin again on this one.
Yeah, but I mean, it sounds good. It sounds good, so.
This one I had some trouble with just because I didn't think when it came to what they tried to do on the verses, what they tried to do on the chorus, and with everything, I didn't think it had that flow to it. I didn't think it, really transitioned well between one or the other. And that's just the way it hit my ears, though. Again, from what I've seen from this one is times you and I have differing opinions on this. But again, that's what I like to see. That's what I like to hear, because we're two different people, two different sets of ears. So we're going to hear, we're going to hear it in a different way.
Honestly, I say that a lot. But anyway.
I was just about to mention that, too.
Yeah, I repeat myself a lot, but even though it was a slower song, I'm looking at the lyrics now and I can really see the message he was trying to send. And yeah, it's actually a pretty good song, not gonna lie.
So, because you're saying you can see what the message trying to be sent was in this song, what message was that?
It says I may bend, but I won't break. So you may leave scars, but you won't change. Or this is just my opinion. You may leave scars, but you won't change who I am. Because bending, leaving scars, and then won't break, so you won't change who you are.
See, I took the same route as you with that self-acceptance style, where it's like, it's really focusing on taking into account, like, making sure you're good with your own happiness, which is something, again, I can relate to as well, due to the fact that when I was younger, I think I was like 4th or 5th grade, it was always, trying to do your best to fit in, because I was ever, the popular kid at school, and it was oh, you just wanted to fit in because if you were stood out too much, you'd get picked on and you didn't want that. But then after a
Yeah,
while, I realized that's just a bunch of bullshit.
yeah,
And this song, the way the message is constructed, really focuses on that. Where it's like, don't be afraid to be yourself because there are going to be people out there that are going to make fun of you. There are going to be people out there that ridicule you. And to that we say, fuck them.
honestly though, yeah, the he put so much feeling into this. And I read somewhere where he said that he doesn't really share a lot or anything on social media, so he puts it all into his music and into the lyrics.
That
And
so that does make a lot of sense, actually.
mhm.
And now I got to jump into the next one because just from that transition, it is perfect for this one. The next song, Another Life. When it comes to talking about, putting all your emotion into a song, this was the one where I woke up in the morning because the album was released on Friday, like midnight in the East Coast, I think 11 o'clock here, but I was already trying to go to bed because I'd been like on 3 hours of sleep for the past 2 days. And I woke up at 5:30 and my phone was just littered with people messaging me on the page or trying to comment on stuff like what their favorite song was, and this was a consistent hit.
Yeah.
Which after my first listen to it, I was really surprised at because this one, I mean, they deconstructed the whole entire song. It was slowed up. Everything about it was softer, and I thought, why are people really liking this? This is not Motionless in White. It doesn't pack that kind of a punch. I was lost in it on the first two listens. When I listened to it to the third time, it all hit me.
Yeah. And it's really short.
It is really short, but it's so much more impactful though, especially when you really concentrate on the lyrics. And I did have a conversation with someone on social media about this song because they really liked it as well, and what they said about it, and what kind of like what a little bit about what Chris had talked about it. I mean, I kind of could see exactly where he was coming from, and I felt every aspect of it. This was after I really figured it out. It was a little bit of a hard song to listen to. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cause when you listen to it, like, what was your interpretation of it? That might be a good place to really start with this one.
Um, I don't know. I'm seeing love a lot, and or like I really don't know how to explain it.
Just do your best.
Hmm.
I mean, come on, most of my explanations aren't perfect either. I kind of just sometimes stumble through this stuff, so.
My brain doesn't want to function.
Okay,
Well,
I mean,
when does it ever?
I mean, I don't know about that. I was gonna say for brain functioning, there's times where my brain just completely shuts off. Most of the time, that's when I'm at my full-time job, though, because, well, who wants to actually be at a full-time job? Let's be real.
Hmm.
However, I'll give you my take on it, and I want to see what you think about it. So, kind of when I had my conversation with someone on Instagram, they were telling me about how kind of Chris was talking about how this song really represented past relationships in his life that didn't work out, more like relationships with a significant other, and how maybe in another life, maybe if things were different, they would be able to be together, but the way life has happened, that it's not that way, and he has come to terms with it. However, it's still always going to be a part of his life.
Okay, now that you've said that, I can see it.
And the one thing that really, again, first two listens to the song, I really didn't like it, but the third one, when I really got a hold of it and really got a hold of the meaning of it, I thought Another Life, I mean, it kind of just all came together at this point because there had been times when this was back about, a year and a half, 2 years ago at this point now, because I had a girlfriend and her and I split, and for the longest amount of time after that, things weren't going right, and I kept always thinking about, wishing like I could go back in time and fix it. And just always thinking about, another life. What would life be like had I not had, you stuck together? What would life be like had this been different? What would life be like if this was different? And you're always thinking about that. And you're creating this alternate reality based off upon it, away from what's actually going on. And so then they're always going to be a part of your life. They're always going to be a part of that. And it's kind of like always wondering it. And, you get kind of coming to terms with, that's never going to happen. And just the one thing it really did for me was it brought back the memory of the sheer pain and the sheer agony that I put myself through. Not saying that, and it was me who put myself through this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's scary about the song, because it hit me that hard for a song that was that slow for Motionless in White.
Now that's bringing me back to memories.
Is it doing the same thing for you as it did to me?
Yeah. Just thinking back to a bunch of people that I've either talked to or have dated. Yeah, I know I'm young, but
but you can totally understand where both Chris is coming from, and both kind of like when I'm giving my interpretation of it, you can kind of feel that at the same time as well with your own personal experiences.
Yeah.
It really gives us an insight into Chris's mind, though.
Oh, uh-huh.
And one of the other things I really kind of connect with the song too is you see someone like that, you see someone like Chris, when I first saw what he looked like, I'm like, whoa. Like, kind of like I wasn't expecting that. And then as I, seeing them perform, seeing what they've done in music, seeing what they've done, kind of in their lives, from what I could tell, like I had no idea that, he kind of thought about this. I really didn't really know that he kind of was going through the same shit that I did, or the same shit that I put myself through. And it makes him a lot more relatable, connectable. Man, I don't know the best way to describe it.
Yeah. It's...
What was that? I'm sorry if I cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine. It's definitely different, but then again, everyone has feelings. Everyone feels differently about certain things, and we don't know how he feels, so he puts it out in music.
And then that allows us to relate to him a lot more, and allows us to kind of give it a voice in a sense too, and give it something tangible to say. It's like what kind of feelings are you feeling on this specific one? Is just like, play that song, now you'll know.
Yeah.
It kind of made Chris seem more human.
People think that they don't have feelings, like actors or singers, that they're not real people, or not real people, but like they're not like us.
Kind of like they put them on such a pedestal that they're the most perfect people and nothing's wrong with them, or nothing can go wrong with them, because of how, in the way that we see it, how perfect their lives are.
Yeah. When in reality, we have no idea what's going on in their life. They could be dealing with a death in the family, or a breakup, or just some different thing going wrong in their life that we don't know about. And they're putting it into like music, and that's where we really see what's going on. Oh, hello.
Well, adding on top of that as well, just take a look at. There's a lot of people like that where, again, more famous people than people that are more famous than Chris is at this point. And I think a good example of that would be Robin Williams. No one knew what was actually going on. He was just always the funniest guy in the room, always making people laugh. Everyone thought that he was on top of the world and everything was fantastic, and we didn't know what was actually going on.
Yeah.
Which is sad, and there's got to be a way to express that because if you hold all that emotion and you hold all those feelings, and it's just gonna bottle up and they're just gonna come out with basically with a vengeance. And I'm really glad that they made this song because for Chris's sake, it gives what he's went through a voice. It gives it outlet for him. And for us, it gives us a relatable experience, and it gives us a voice and an expression to put into those feelings.
Yeah, and I totally see where you're coming from when you say that they have a lot of emotion, and if you bottle it up, it can come back at you. Yeah, I can relate to that 110%, because I don't like sharing my feelings, and I usually just push it back and leave it alone. But sometimes it comes up and knocks me in the butt.
It'll do the exact same for me too, and I'll put it this way: it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And now this again, after listening to this song, I'm gonna end this specific song on this. When they said that this album was gonna be harder than any other album they put together, but not in the way we were expecting, this is it. This is the prime example of that.
Yep.
All right.
They probably meant hard as a different way than we were thinking. Probably like emotional hard instead of, hardcore hard.
Yeah, and in terms of that, especially looking through the songs they put together, I think that's definitely what they were going for. At times I think they missed on it, and at times I think they really did hit on it. But with Another Life, Chris knocked this one out of the fucking park. Oh,
for sure.
Yeah. All right. Enough with the feels, because now I'm starting to get a little weirded out. But I'm like, this is kind of sharing a lot of feels. What is this? Now let's go to one where that completely gets stripped away with Broadcasting from Beyond the Grave.
This one, it's kind of hard to understand for me.
How so?
I really don't know. It's just not processing through my tiny brain.
Are you talking about just kind of like with the way the song's constructed? Or are you talking about with the specific meaning of the song, or kind of what with the direction of the song, what it was trying to really go after at this point?
Okay, I kind of get like a little hint. Whenever it says "We're the weirdos in your stereo."
So, what kind of hint does that give you?
Rock people that listen to rock music, or not listen. Well, yeah, listen, create. They're considered weird because it's screaming and supposedly worshiping the devil, and people think it's weird or it's dumb, and he's basically saying, we are the weirdos. We don't care what you think. We are who we are. Screw you.
Well, I just want to kind of add some context onto that as well, due to the fact that I think within 20 years, this isn't going to be even viewed that way. Due to the fact that, let's think about this. Ever since rock music has been a thing, since the 1950s, people have always considered certain bands in rock music to kind of more worship the devil and to be evil and to be kind of not desirable for pop culture. Elvis Presley went through that, and people literally travel to his estate, even though he's been dead for 40 years. People impersonate him on the street. They claim the Beatles put, if you played the records backwards, that there was going to be, satanic remarks in there. I'm trying to think from the 70s if there was really any big ones. Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Motley Crue. I could just go on and on with a list to the point where it's, the way their sound is, it's just that sound for today. When in the span of, give it 20 years, all of a sudden people are going to be like, oh, that's not weird. This is good stuff. This is a classic. Yet right now it's just like, oh, they're talking about death and evil and they must be condemned or something like that. I don't know.
People don't give rock music enough recognizing. What am I even trying to say?
You're trying to say people aren't giving rock music any kind of recognition.
Yes, that word. I'm going into high school, people my age and around here, country, country, rap, pop music. That's the thing. And so whenever I bring in my rock music, people just kind of look at me and, do you worship the devil? No, I do not worship the devil. This has more meaning than murder and doing drugs and having sex.
And a red Solo cup.
Yeah. Drinking, drugs, death. Well, ours sends that in a good way. Theirs is just telling you that doing this stuff is cool. Some of it is. Doing this stuff is cool, and money, power, fame, all that. This is telling you about your life. Like people's lives that you don't really know about. Like know what's happening in their life. I probably don't make any sense right now.
No, you do, because what you're trying to go with is when you're talking, the more popular music of today, when you're looking at more pop music and rap music, it's when it comes down to stuff that's really popular, even country as well, there's not a lot of deep substance to it. Yeah. Where, again, I'm not gonna say it's complete or it's ultimate. Where there are a number of pop tracks, there are a good number of hip hop and rap songs. There's a good number of country songs where they really dive deep into certain issues that are going on. However, a good amount of the majority that is popular, a good amount of the majority that is being listened to by people your age, people my age, that's being played on the radio, does not have that kind of substance that a lot of rock music has, that a lot of other, maybe that R&B has, that a lot of, I'm trying to think of some other genres and styles. But when you're really talking about, or even like some, that, more old school Western country has, there's so much substance in the music, and it's the way to express it. And again, the bands that really go through and really work to express it and really concentrate on writing these songs, they kind of get left by the wayside a little bit, because I don't think popular culture really wants to hear somebody get that authentic with them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I can bring up a couple examples too, but I kind of want to get your take on that. What did you think?
Yeah, honestly, people don't understand. That's basically it. Just people don't understand the difference.
No, and it's more, and people are gonna more listen to, people that are really sticking to popular culture and like pop music and rap or country. They're gonna listen to what makes them, just the sounds that make them feel happy, that release extra serotonin in their brain, that's gonna get them out on the dance floor, get them moving. Where it's lately, again, rock music has become, and for a while, has been more of an art form to really focus in and express certain ideals and express certain opinions. We can see a lot of that here with Motionless in White in Disguise. I could see a lot of that, especially in Disturbed's latest release, Evolution, because they really focus in on the mental health aspect of everything. I use Rise Against as another example. When they came out with Wolves in 2017, again, as a punk rock band, especially as politically charged as they were, the amount of time they took to really try and construct something off of that was phenomenal. The Foo Fighters can fit in there as well. I'm trying to think of some. I thought what Flesh God Apocalypse did with their latest album, when I had a conversation with our buddy Anthony about it, just looking at how they constructed that song, all about poison and about like things that are really hurting us as a society and really hurting people on an individual level. It's amazing because people would listen to this stuff and be like, "Oh, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound like something we should listen to." But the substance, it's so much more in depth.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I'm kind of starting to like rant right now, but but I feel like we're kind of really getting into something here.
I don't know, it's fine. Sometimes you need someone to rant too.
Yeah, and that's another good thing with rock music too, because for those who don't have people to rant to, it's not gonna give them that totalitarian outlet like, ranting to another person or ranting to someone you completely trust does, but it gives you an outlet and gives you a way to express yourself and express maybe the feelings and the ranting you need to do, especially because when you're listening to something like, I'm trying to think of something that really gets me, would make me want to rant and just go nuts. Like Voices would be perfect for that.
Yeah.
So again, I know you said, I know you're going into high school, starting in August or September this year?
August.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. But when you go into high school, again, I'm gonna tell you this right now. You're gonna find a lot of people that are very narrow-minded. You're gonna find a lot of people that, especially when it comes to music too, because I know you from my conversations. It's gonna be like people are gonna like, oh, what do you like to listen to? You're just gonna be like, Motionless in White, bitch.
Yes.
And if they're like, who's that? You're gonna be like, they're the best band you haven't heard of yet, because you've been living under a rock.
Don't think I won't tell them that.
Oh, I hope you do. And the thing is, I mean, again, it's gonna be like, oh well, you like that kind of music? It's like, yeah, well, I haven't, and then you ask them what kind of music they like, and they might say pop, they might say rap, they might say country. And the one thing I always found interesting was, now this is what I did some of this stuff too. It's like, well, I asked them, like, why do you like that music? And you can always tell a genuine answer from a disingenuous one.
Mine's, it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel like I can relate to it more than I can rap or country or pop or, all the cool stuff these days.
Yeah, because I've had some people say that, it's like, why do you like country music? And it's, there's some things they tell me like there's certain things they really associate with it. And a lot of the things they associate with it are things they associate rock music with. So that's something I totally get. There's a lot of people though, when you ask them, like, why do you really like this kind of music? And it's just, they're like, well, they just kind of like it's, I don't know what that's way to describe it, but it's like, my question is always then, do you like it because you actually like it, or do you like it because it's the popular thing to like? And again, if they're going either way, if that's what they want to do, then, more power to you. But I'm just always concerned. It's like, well, then why are you ridiculing my music then?
Yeah. Like, I grew up around all of the, the popular stuff, but I also, like, every time I was with my dad, this is all he would listen to was rock music. And that's really where I got to like it. My mom doesn't really like this kind of music because she can't understand what he's saying or what they're saying. And I'm like, it's not about understanding just yet. You have to listen to it. Like, you have to listen to the beat. If you like the beat, maybe you can start listening to the lyrics and look them up, read them, see if you can understand it then. Because that's what I did to understand lyrics. I look them up and follow along with the music. And then sooner or later, I'm singing the words that no one can understand.
Yeah, I get that too. Because I'll put it this way: if you played Motionless in White for me, if you played the Graveyard Shift album, maybe like when it came out, I probably would have been like, I'm not really gonna listen to it. But then again, all of a sudden, I started listening to more of that kind of music, started getting more into it, and then when I first heard Voices, I thought, holy shit, what I've been missing out on. And then when I was like, okay, what's like that was the top song on Spotify at the time. Like, okay, what's next? All right, what's the song? Eternally Yours. Let's see what happens. I liked it from the intro, and then all of a sudden, Chris went with the unclean vocals, and I thought to myself at first, I'm like, wow, me from a year ago really would have just been like turning it off right now, but I got to see where this goes. And yeah, that's one of the better decisions I've made up to this point.
Honestly, I just listen to whatever's turned on. If I like it, I'll continue to listen. But I'll continue to listen, but I probably won't ever listen to it again.
Understandable. I thought about this. If I next time I actually have a chance to probably go downtown and party with the people on a Saturday night or a Friday night, even though I haven't done that in like 4 months at this point. But one thing I should do is because they're always playing hip hop or rap or pop music, I should literally just bring my earbuds with me, put them in. People ask me like, "What are you listening to?" I'm like, "Good music."
Screams, good music.
I would have to scream it too because it's just all you're gonna hear is.
Yes. That's why I hate going to the little parties that us kids have. Not really parties, get-togethers, basically. Like, they're always playing rock music, or not rock. Why do I keep saying rock? They're always playing, like, rap and today's pop, and I'm like, just turn it off.
Because if you were throwing these get-togethers, you'd be playing rock music. That's probably why you're thinking it.
I mean, I don't have enough friends for a get-together or, like, a party. I have 2 friends now.
You very well might find more when you get to high school, though. Again, you get just a bigger pool of people.
Well, my school's really tiny, and I know basically everyone in high school.
How big is it, like, student-wise?
I think my 8th grade class had No. What am I talking about? What is going on in my life? Maybe 100. 6th, 7th, and 8th in a whole, I think maybe had 500-600. I may be so off, but it's not that big. I'm just gonna tell you that.
Not that big. That's like 3/4 of the size of my high school right there. So when it comes down to like being in a small school, I totally understand it.
High school has more kids. I'm gonna be so scared because I'm short, and people in high school are scary.
How are they scary?
They're tall and more superior.
More superior. Okay, Kate, so you got to get that out of your mind right now. Honestly, they're like deer in the headlights or like whatever it is, like some kind of animal, like some kind of animal that people get freaked out about. It's like no, they're more scared of you than you are of it. If you go in there with some certain kind of confidence, if you go through in there with some Chris Motionless kind of confidence, honestly, it's people are gonna be not necessarily. I don't want to say intimidated by you, but they're gonna know not to mess with you.
People already are scared of me because I am that tough, gothic emo chick that listens to rock music. So people are scared of me.
And if somebody gets in your face, you just gotta, in the words of Chris Motionless, bleh. I mean, I there's no way I can do it as good as he can. I would say I won't even try, but I kinda just did, so. Oh, I kind of thought about doing that at work at one point as well. Just to people just ask me stupid questions, just go yeah.
Yeah.
But then most of the time, when I'm at work, I have my earbuds or my headphones in, whatever one it is. Which if my earbuds are dead from because I have the wireless ones, put the headphones on, and people are always see me walking around with them, and everyone's like, "Oh, what are you listening to?" And I look at them, and I just kind of start. I kind of tell them I'm listening to, and they're just like, "We've never heard of them before. What do they play?" And one time, when it happened, I was listening to Motionless in White. They're like, "I'm like, oh, I'm just listening to Motionless in White," and they're like, "What kind of band is that?" I'm like, probably one that you won't really want to listen to."
I'd tell him to get out of my face, you uncultured swine.
Unfortunately, the people that usually ask me that are people that are like 2 to 3 rungs above me in the company, and I can't really
Hey,
do that.
don't do that.
Well, I'll put it this way. I'd like to do that, but I like the fact that I get money there to finance this stuff, and because of how much this is growing, money should be rolling in on this stuff soon, so then maybe I can make enough to I can tell that job, well, I got my own thing now. I'm good.
Yeah.
Alrighty, before we go off on some more tangents, because we probably end up, well, we got 2 more songs we gotta go through. You still good for 2 more?
Yeah. I forgot we were talking about music.
That's just the way it happens. Though we go, whatever the conversation, wherever it flows, that's kind of what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we usually get the best conversations. That's where we get the best stuff and they get the most, most connected stuff, just because it's not, doesn't sound like it's, I want to say forced, but it's just like it happens, and you really get into it deep. Whatever it may be, whatever subject it may be.
Yeah.
So let's go on. Now we've got brand new Numb coming in with the second last song. This was the second single off of the album, and I still have when you're talking about Broadcast from Beyond the Grave, and you said you really didn't know what that song was about. Brand new Numb, I still don't know.
But maybe he has a new way of numbing the pain. I don't know. I just say numb and brand new, so a new way. That's just off the top of my head.
Interesting. I mean, I'm just trying, when I was really taking a look at the lyrics, I just couldn't grasp it. So I was having trouble with this one. I still do, honestly. I was listening to it again and again. I'm like, I still like the song due to the fact that I wasn't as big on it at first until I actually heard it played live. Then I really got into it, but I'm like, I still can't figure out what you're talking about.
Okay, it says, give me liberty or death. And it says, oh, fuck it, just give me death.
Was it give me liberty or give me death, judge me more or pay me less, something, fuck it, just give me death, and then, let's go! Yeah, I've listened to it a couple of times.
Guilt on my conscience. No guilt on my conscience.
Yeah, so maybe you have it correct, or you're talking about he's found a new way to numb the pain and not make it as prevalent anymore. And then kind of maybe when he goes, the second part of the chorus, where it's like, I am the enemy, just really going to that, where it's recognizing that even though you're numbing the pain of, the emotions that you were feeling, it's still not gonna fix it to where you're actually becoming the enemy of your own self.
Huh. Yeah.
Which is odd, because I kind of just pulled that out of my ass right now.
But it makes total sense.
It does in the end, and especially because we've all been at that point as well, where where it's like, bad things happen, and and you try and deal with the pain, but there's a lot of times where we just try and find ways to mask it and not have to deal with it. And I've been a victim of that to my own self, because again, when you're talking about, trying to mask the pain, you're the one doing it to yourself. So I've done that to myself. I know a good amount of people that have done that to themselves as well.
Mm-hmm. So I think we may have done something.
I think we may have figured it out. Alrighty, shoot, I don't have anything here, but like figured out, pop the champagne bottles. We did it! Woo! No, yeah, I can't make a champagne bottle popping sound with my
Oh,
noise or my
wait,
my
I'm
voice.
underage. Pop the Coke can.
Pop, yeah, or the Diet Coke and the Mentos. Well, I mean, you'll get a bigger explosion out of that anyway.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so last but not least on this album, we have Catharsis. I believe that's this one. This one again, this was the one I'm like, I'm not a big fan of this one, especially the way it ends the album because no, I don't know if this was by design by the band or if this wasn't by design, but at the end of it, I just kind of felt like it was an empty song. I really didn't know what was going on. I couldn't fully grasp it. I really didn't kind of like the construction of it. It sounded like, it would have been a much better use as a, maybe like a B-side track on the album or a bonus track on the album. Just because it really made me, it was an kind of like empty song that after you listen to it, you're just like, wait, is that it? There's not more? It kind of left the album real open-ended. Whereas in their previous release, again, on Graveyard Shift, they ended the album with Eternally Yours, and that thing just brings it to a straight close and ties up any loose ends on how great of an album it can be.
Yeah. I mean, the song it's okay, but like you said, it kind of is bland and leaves like a big open spot. And they could have either added more to it or put it like maybe change the way it was made, like change the rhythm and the tempo and stuff like that.
It really leaves a lot to be desired. That's another way to put it. Whereas there are some songs where, the way they're constructed, it's like I can't really see what else they could have done with the song. There's really no way they could have really improved upon it. And I think those songs really fall into Disguise, into Thoughts and Prayers, into Another Life, and into Broadcasting from Beyond the Grave. Catharsis, though, it just doesn't sound like it's complete.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of it, it did kind of leave a little bit of a sour taste of the album in my mind afterwards, just because I felt like again something missing. There's something that's not there. There's something that's more that is needed.
Yeah. I mean, I've been seeing everywhere, like on the Motionless in White crew page on Instagram, they posted some people's reactions on Catharsis, and they say that they really felt something towards it and that it made them get emotional. But I really didn't see it. Don't get me wrong, I like the song. It's decent, but I didn't really feel anything towards it.
Yeah, when it comes to feeling things towards, I kind of went off on that with Another Life, where again, the people that really maybe felt something on Catharsis really maybe thought that Another Life left something out of it, and if maybe made them feel like it was empty as well. I don't know. I mean, that could be the way, but then again, difference of a sound, difference of opinions, difference of experiences to the point where maybe there's something that I've never really experienced or I haven't come close to that certain people have that really is present on Catharsis that people really connect with that I just don't have.
Yeah.
And that could very well be the same way with you as well. I just don't know.
Yeah, I just don't feel anything towards it.
Yeah, I think that really kind of where that empty feeling towards that song really kind of comes in, because you just doesn't really have the feeling towards it, and you really don't feel anything towards it after you're done listening to it. You just kind of sit there and wonder. But then again, I always wonder, was that planned? I don't know.
Maybe in the next album that they're, gonna do, they have something to open up with that will maybe bring that to it.
Maybe,
like,
but that'll be in 2021 or in 2022 at this point.
Yeah, but you always got to start thinking ahead. And maybe with leaving it open in like 22, say, let's say that's when it comes out. They want to start it off bringing that openness and pulling it into the next album.
That could be very true as well, because we have seen bands do that beforehand where they kind of allude to something in a previous album that really kind of shows you where they're kind of headed in a certain direction. And I'm trying to think of a couple examples. I'm going to use Disturbed at this point because when they came out with Immortalize in 2015 and they did the cover The Sound of Silence, and how impactful and how powerful of a song that is, and how insane their cover of it was. In their latest album, Evolution, they took a couple of songs and they kind of made them towards that slower, more melodic and heartfelt place, to the where I'm like, for some of them, I'm like, I really don't remember some of these. Like, I kind of thought they were going that route, but I didn't really care for them. Then there's some where I'm like, they did a fantastic job. I'll use Skillet as an example as well. Now, I'm not sure how big, if you really care about Skillet at all, but in their previous releases, they kind of really didn't go very hard on any of them. They kind of kept it softer rock. But then in their release in 2016, they had a couple of tracks that were quite harder. And I'm like, okay, I'm really getting into it. And now they said that this is their upcoming release in August is going to be their hardest album yet. Now,
Yeah.
am I going to get a hardest album like the one I'm hoping for, where it's a harder sound? Or are we going to get a hardest album like what we got with Motionless in White, where the content is just so much heavier? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll just see.
I don't know. But alrighty. Enough chit chat about every single song. I gotta get the drum roll for you because, well, that's just me banging my fingers on a table. But if you had to rate the Skies on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being the worst, so, and as I like to say, 0 being anything Maroon 5's put out in the past 5 years. Hoyo! And 10 being my favorite album, The Suffer and the Witness by Rise Against, well, or whatever album you might like the best as 10. Where would you rate The Skies by Motionless in White?
Probably a 7.5.
Wait. Are you serious?
Only because I didn't understand a few of the songs.
Okay, I'm not asking are you serious by like, I can't believe you rated it that. The reason I'm saying are you serious is because that's what I went with.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Great minds do think alike.
Yes, they do. I've had this written down, like the rating for it last night. Worked on the YouTube video review, shot it, cut it, so it's scheduled, ready to be, it's uploaded, scheduled, ready to be released. So that's locked in, and I just can't believe that we had the exact same rating.
Wow.
So I'll put it this way, at a 7.5. Do you think this is their best album? Because I think at a 7.5, especially with your take on Motionless White, I don't think that's going to garner their best album ever. But again, I'm going to ask the question.
I don't know.
Because I know a lot of people who really listen to the band ever since the beginning. A couple of people that I've talked to through this. Again, Creatures is always going to be their favorite album. For me, I don't think this beats Graveyard Shift. I do think this is a good album, though.
Yeah, same. I was about to be like, Graveyard Shift is probably my favorite album. But I like this album. I like music. Like, I like what they were experimenting with different things. And yeah, all in all, it's a good album. But definitely not my favorite. Maybe like top 3.
Well, I mean, they've only had 5. Well, so it's middle of the rung, maybe a little bit above average. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Alrighty, now I got another one for you, just because as I've looked through the albums that are set to be released throughout the rest of the year, I don't think for the rock community, really anything stands out that much in June. So by the time we hit the end of June, well, again, that's the first half of 2019, does Disguised by Motionless in White right now have the title of Best Album of the Year? in your opinion, or is there another album that came out this year that has that above this?
I haven't really paid attention to other albums that's come out. This is really the only one that I've, paid attention to because it's, my favorite band. Of course, I'm gonna pay attention.
Again, I totally understand that because back when I was probably the same age as you, it was like whatever favorite band I had, whenever they came out with a new album, like I was all in on that, and other bands would come out with a new album. I'm like, wait, what? That band came out with new music?
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask the question just because I wasn't necessarily sure if you really listened to a lot of more new releases that came out this year and what your thoughts were on them. Because again, you might have thought, this album completely kicks this other album's ass, or this album didn't compare to what this other band put out this year.
Like I said, I don't know what other bands have come out with.
Let me think just off the top of my head. So far, Papa Roach came out with one, The Fever 333, Get Scared, Bring Me the Horizon, Taking Back Sunday. Shoot, I'm trying to think of some other ones. Andy Black.
Wait, Andy came out with a new album?
Yeah, in April.
How did I not know this?
Well, you know it now.
Him.
Yeah, it was called The Ghost of Ohio. Then it came out on April 12th, I want to say.
Honestly, I don't really like The Ghost of Ohio. It's not Andy.
Oh, I kind of said the same thing too.
I'm used to Black Veil Bride's Andy.
Yeah.
Andy Black Andy. I mean, We Don't Have to Dance, Ribcage. What else? Whatever other songs that he's made solo, those were okay, but Ghost of Ohio, I didn't really get into it.
Yeah, because I know I made the album review for it. I'm like, okay, I listened to it just because I was, again, for this whole entire thing, especially with his connection with Black Veil Brides, I wanted to see what he had, and I was not the biggest fan of it. But then again, I'm like, well, that might be my premonitions, because what I really liked from what he does was I actually really like what they did on Veil. I thought they have a great album there. And then looking at some other songs as well, because I actually kind of played some stuff for them from Black Veil Brides, from Set the World on Fire, especially like Fallen Angel, for my dad. And my dad's like, oh, this sounds like, this is like something I'd listen to back in the 80s. I'm like, yeah, this sounds like something we would listen to back when we would be in the basement and just playing the music as loud as we freaking could back when I was like 2-3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, he kind of actually got into. I'm like, I got him into something. But again, Ghost of Ohio, I think I did not give that album. I didn't give that album that favorable of a rating when it came to the music, when it came to the concept of it, and came to really what the message that was being driven out there. I did enjoy it, but musically, I just thought, again, used to the Black Veil Bride style, not really used to the Andy Black style.
Yeah.
And then some other albums that came out this year. I think New Year's Day came out with one, and I know Flesh God Apocalypse did, Rammstein did, and I think that, again, once we get to the Sky with the Skies Motionless In White, I think we're kind of really at the end of the first half of the year with album releases. But in the second half of the year, we've got a lot of potential coming down the pipeline with confirmed album releases and dates from like Volbeat, Slipknot, Skillet. Tool's supposed to be coming out with their album finally. I'm trying to think of some other ones. In This Moment announced potential August release for one. I'm trying to think of some others. Sleeping with Sirens, I know they finished one, and I'm not sure when that's coming out. Pierce the Veil is supposed to come out with one this year. I mean, there's a lot of potential for the second half of the year if you're interested in new music for the second half of the year.
I cannot wait for Slipknot.
How do you think that one's going to turn out? I'm actually curious to see what you think about that.
Probably hard fucking core.
What'd you think about Unsainted?
I honestly have only heard it like twice and can't really remember how it goes or anything because I've been listening to Disguise for the past
Couple of days.
24 hours now.
Probably more like close to 48 at this point.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious to see what Slipknot does. That'll give me a tough album review for me to do due to the fact that I'm going to be traveling when it comes out. So I'll try to do my best to give the best interpretation I can of it. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
I'm honestly excited.
I'll say this: I am as well, just for the second half of the year, because we got a lot of other stuff coming down the rest of the pipeline. And with you got a new Motionless in White record this year. You're gonna get a new Slipknot record, and especially going into your first year in high school once August kicks in, could be useful to have that music laying around and being able to listen to at your listening pleasure.
Yeah.
I'll say this while I got you on the phone, just because we've gone through the whole entire Disguise album. I've had you on for about an hour and a half already.
Doesn't feel like it.
No, it does not. This is like some Joe Rogan podcast stuff where you talk for like 2.5, 3 hours, and it's just like, well, wait, where the hell did time go?
Yeah.
I'll say, you got anything else on your mind? Because I know it's late right now due to the fact that we're shooting this on now it's Sunday morning. It's not Saturday night anymore. I think it's like, what time is it? 12:16. Holy shit. Better way to spend this is a better way to spend a Saturday night than going out and wasting all my money on overpriced beer.
Yeah. True. Well, I got a hold of I didn't get a hold. He got a hold of me asking if I would comment on this post, but it's a bassist for a band. He messaged me and asked me if I would comment and follow the person. I'm like, sure, why not? And I was like, okay, so I have a question. And he was like, yeah, what is it? Or yeah, what's up? And I said, I have a passion for music and I really don't know how to spread it around because I'm shy and I don't want to post a video because people from my school might see and stuff like that. And he answered back and was like, asking if I talked about it a lot with my friends, and I'm like, yeah, of course. We're all rock fans, and he's asked if I was afraid of what people might think, and I was like, I'm really not, because everyone already knows. But yeah, and then we got into talking, and I was like, he asked if I was a musician, and I told him I wanted to be, and that I sing a lot, and I've always been scared of going up on stage because, I don't want to get I don't want to sound bad and then end up getting made fun of. And then he started telling me how he gets scared sometimes too, and it's just easier to start performing in front of your family and your friends and then work your way up. And then he asked if I had a vocal coach, and I told him no, but I've been wanting one so I can start. And then he sent me this thing talking about how, I think, it was Nirvana, how they started off in a band, or they started not in a band, they started off in a garage, just playing random music on old guitars and drums and stuff, and how that you can't just waste your time sitting down and thinking about, I want to do this, or go on American Idol and, telling you that you're not good enough to be big. And I basically said that me and my friends were actually wanting to do music because we are. And he said, what are you waiting for? I said, honestly, for them to get their lazy butts out of the house. And so, yeah, he pretty much told me that I need to stop sitting around and get out into a garage or get out into a secluded area with some friends and some instruments and just make stupid music until I finally get good enough one day to maybe share it out with the world.
See, I would tell you the exact same thing pretty much, just with, again, remember, what would your legacy be? Just going all motionless in white on you right there. But when it comes down to it, one thing that a lot of people do have fear of is, posting videos of them performing or actually, putting whatever they have out there, due to the fact that they're nervous about what other people are going to say. They're nervous about, this person might not like it. This person that was really important to me might not like it. And the one thing that I implore you to do, if it's something that you really want to do, is really build up your self-confidence and your love for the person that you are every step of the way that you can every single day, due to the fact that then when you'll end up having the courage to, okay, now I made some music, made this track, and I want to share it with people. I want to try and grow this, so I got to share it with people. So then you put it out on your Instagram page, on your Facebook page, wherever you can put it. And someone comes by and says, oh, I don't like this is bad, and this isn't what music should be. And you're going to end up having so much confidence in yourself, you're going to be like, well, who cares? Like, why? Like, I'm not going to let some random person affect me. Because it could be some random guy in the middle of Nebraska with absolutely nothing to do. I'm just gonna paint you this picture. Say you're making music, and say you make this track that you're very proud of, and you think it's, it could be a hit, and you put it out there. And now some random guy in Nebraska, 30 years old, 300 pounds, living in his mom's basement, eating Twinkies all day, just spends his whole entire time on a computer, on the internet, doing whatever he's doing, just comes across it and decides to spew a bunch of crap and says, oh, this isn't music, this isn't good, something like that. And you're gonna have enough self-confidence to be like, wait a minute, think about this. I've got all this self-confidence. I know what I'm doing. I know that this is my craft. I know that this is going to be good. I know I can make this work. And some random person's going to come out of nowhere, come out of the woodwork and say, it's not good. Like, oh, it's not good. And you can't let that, you're going to have so much self-confidence, it's going to bounce right off you. Okay?
Well, then my self-confidence is high, because every time someone calls me stupid or weird, I'm like, I know.
Exactly, and I'll give you a story too. This actually happened to me the previous week. I can't remember what day it was, but someone was commenting on some of the stuff that I had on Instagram. It was something about from a post from 4 or 5 months ago when I had the Bring Me the Horizon release, and he's like, "Oh, this is their best album they ever put out there," and I said, "I got it. Like, we disagree with you, bud," and told him that, and he kind of he was getting a little mad, like, "Oh, it's just like you don't know good music." I'm like, look, dude, I made a whole video on why they made the move and why they, have gone from their original style, from that deathcore style. Now, they're on a pop rock and just kind of pop style. I made a video kind of detailing why they made the transition, and I get it. I respect the fact of what they're trying to do. I just don't really think they're doing it well, or I really don't like what they did. Just because I just don't like that sound. But then again, I know a lot of other people do. Then I kind of think I ticked him off a little bit, because he ended up giving me another comment on one of my posts I put out every Thursday, due to the fact that I'm a huge 30 Seconds to Mars fan, especially a lot of their older stuff, and I want to get them as a feature, especially on our Alexa skill, because I want to play their music. Now I need music licensing for it, and I can't actually get theirs because the licensing companies that I go through don't actually have the rights to their music. A very specific one does, and I've been having a lot of trouble getting in contact with them. So I constantly make a post every single Thursday to try and, get their attention. Guy comes and comments on one of mine and said, well, maybe you'd actually get it if you didn't pick their latest album as their worst album of the year in 2018. And I just told him, like, this is a rock community where you're free and open to say what you feel about an album or whatever it is in rock music, honest or not. And he's like, let me give you a piece of advice, man. honesty is like you can't be honest in this business. It's you like kind of like sell out and kiss ass and kind of all that stuff. And I literally just found with him, honesty wins the game in the fourth quarter. He was like, and he kind of went off on some other stuff. I said, dude, I respect your advice. Because you've been probably doing this a lot longer than I have. However, in today's day and age, when it comes down to it, uh, people have a lot stronger voice now than they did because of the internet, because of social media, and we want to give those people a way to talk and actually present information and present what their opinions are freely, and be unfiltered about it. If you think an album is good, tell us it's good. If you think it's bad, tell us it's bad. Just always give us the reason why, and that's pretty much it. And the way I looked at it was, I could have easily gone and been like, oh, this person really hates my stuff, someone who's been in probably this industry a lot longer than I have, and really doesn't like my stuff and is kind of ridiculing me. But I'm just like, you know what? Screw him. I'm just going to beat him.
Yeah, we don't care about we care about your opinion, but don't argue about it. I mean, we want to hear about it, just don't disagree with us if we don't feel the same way.
Or it's like this, if you feel like, it's kind of like, the best way to debate about it is like, if I feel like one way on a certain thing, where it's like, I'm big on this, but you're not, then it's, let's have a dialogue where it's, instead of you trying to force me to have your opinion, it's kind of like present your opinion in a way where it's like, I can see it from your side. And I'll try and do the same thing where I want to have you see what my pain is through my side, and then have us come to an understanding. But then when it comes down to like what side of the fence you're going to be on, that person has the sole, right to choose whatever side of the fence they want to be on.
Yeah.
So the kind of thing I thought about was, the only reason I wanted to tell that story was just the fact that, yeah, I was getting some ridicule by some guy. I do get ridicule from other people as well. But honestly, I just use that as motivation. I look at that, I just think, you know what? There's a good chance that there's a lot, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are, want to bring other people down due to the fact that other people are doing what these certain people want to do, but they're not doing it. And because they're not doing it, it's like, oh, well, they kind of feel this little bit of an egotistical vibe where they don't want other people to do it. It just happens. So what you got to do in that situation is you got to recognize that, and if people are just going to consistently spew hatred or, displeasure towards, if you're making music and you get the same person constantly coming up saying this isn't good, this is garbage, then you got to be thinking about this and say, this person's probably just an unhappy person that's probably trying to make other people just as unhappy. And you don't go and you don't go and be like, you don't go and, tell the person like, oh, you're mean, we don't want you on the page kind of thing, unless they get really bad about it. But you kind of just use it as motivation, as like, what you kind of use as motivation to, I'm going to just basically take this to another level. And I like the fact that I'm getting ridiculed because it's making me want to work harder. Or you just think the fact that this might be a person that just has nothing better to do than wanting to make other people miserable. So why should I let that affect me?
Yeah. I just don't want to end up, like, I don't like being made fun of because it's happened to me so much. But I'm kind of scared that if I do put stuff out there that they are going to tell me I'm bad, and I'm sensitive, okay? So I don't want negativity put upon me, because then I'll end up stopping doing what I love because people don't like it, because when I want people to like it. But I'm probably going to end up doing it someday after I learn how to control my voice, because I can't do that yet, sadly. I want to learn how.
I'll put it this way. You want to know when the best time to start that was? I'm asking you the question. Do you want to know when the best time to start that was?
Oh. Sorry, my stepmom came in and was talking to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna re-ask the question. You want to know when the best time to start that was? That ambition to put stuff out there, learn to control your voice? Best time
Mm-mm.
to start that would have been last year. You want to know what the second best time to start that is?
When?
Right now.
Right now?
Yep, right now.
Hmm.
It's that's something that I always hear. It's like the best. Like people are always thinking, it's like, oh, the best time would have been to do it back when at this certain time. It's like, yeah, would have, but you want to know when the next best time is? Right now, because at this moment you have the most amount of time to do something about it, because you can't change what happened in the past. So in the end, kind of really where I'm trying to drive with this is, if you've got something you really want to do, go do it, because Cadence, the last thing you want to do is be sitting there at, my age, even though I'm not that old. I'm only 24. But it's like, if you have these ambitions to really try this now, and then you don't want to be sitting there at 24 and all of a sudden thinking like, I really want to do this when I was, this age, and now I've got all these other responsibilities. I got all this other stuff I want to do, and I can't do it, and I regret not giving it a shot. That's the last thing you want to have happen. Is you don't want to feel regret for not going for it due to the fact that you're scared that some fat guy or some some random person, I'm just gonna use that. I don't want to diminish fat people though, but just like, I just use that as an example, like that one perfect example I use it for, that one guy or girl, whoever it may be. The person that's trying to bring you down is gonna say negative things, even though they might not. They might not.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see you let some, trying to think the best way to put this. I don't want to see you let some, potential, you thinking about a potential negative comment or a potential person saying, I don't like what your music or, whatever you put out there, derail your ambition.
Yeah. My first choice of a song was gonna be one, like, some random Motionless in White song, because I know like 90% of the songs.
So do it.
I was wanting to do a cover of it, but don't you need like permission?
Well, how would you be making a cover of it? Would you be just putting it out online originally, like straight up, or would you be recording it and trying to sell it?
No, I'm just gonna sing it and hopefully sound good.
Honestly, you could do that right now. People sing cover songs all the time on online. They put them out there, and it's like, hey, check out me singing a cover of Reincarnate. Now, I don't think there's gonna be many people doing covers of Reincarnate, so you might actually have a niche market there where you can really exploit that to the point where you can get a lot more listens and views on your stuff, just due to the fact that there's not gonna be that many people in that space, let alone a female voice.
Yeah. And they may even see it one day and think it's like really good.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, you get to go backstage and get to hang out with Chris for an hour.
Okay, now don't make me start giggling, because like I still get really giddy thinking about the concert. Like just the thought of going backstage and hanging out with them makes me really happy and makes me just like want to jump up and down.
Honestly, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised because the amount of people they meet, they probably absolutely enjoy seeing the fact that there are so many people that they bring absolute joy to in their lives just through what they do and through their creativeness and through their music.
Every time I look at, my poster that I got or see the picture that we all took, I get really happy and just like start thinking back to that day, how it was like the best day of my life. And I get to that point where my heart is happy, I'm happy, and all is good in the world. So,
Alrighty, before I let you go, I'm going to give you one quick tip just because I feel like this might end up helping you out, especially once you start high school, okay?
okay.
So you're saying that, you're always, when you look at that poster, it always brings back, those happy memories, those great memories. And
Yeah.
and it makes you feel like all is right in your world.
Mhm.
See, now when you get to high school, again, anything, a lot of stuff like that. You're gonna have your good days. You're gonna have your bad days, and that's inevitable. I've gone through them. Anybody else who listens to this has gone through them. Everybody in the world has gone through that. But I'm not gonna focus on the good days. I'm gonna focus on the bad days. The days where it's just you need something to smile at. You need something to just make you remember, who you are, what you're all about, and what makes you happy. So when those days happen, what might be a good idea is to always carry something with you that reminds you of that concert. Now, don't carry the poster around with you because you're probably gonna want to keep that thing framed or wherever or hung up wherever it is. You don't want to have some random high school kid come and rip it because he thinks it's funny. Or she thinks it's
Okay.
funny. But
I'll tell you.
if you've got
I'll
a
tell you.
piece of something, then you can always pull it out and look at it and think of it like there's so much more to life than wherever I'm at or whatever day in high school this is.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you this. If someone comes up to me and rips a poster, especially that one, I might be in jail.
So if they rip your poster in half, you're gonna rip their nutsack in half?
Yes. Don't mess with stuff I love, or you will lose something you love.
I totally understand. And basically the reason why I kind of using that advice is right now it's right above, where I'm looking at right now. I've got this poster I got from Camp Mars last year. I used to have it up in my desk at work. I took it down because I didn't want anyone messing with it. And I wanted to frame it up here. But I have another 30 Seconds of Mars poster up on my desk, and I have a Rise Against one. So whenever I'm having, those bad days at work that I'm always wondering, what the hell am I doing here? Which, granted, is pretty much every day. I always look at those and I always remember there's so much more to me and there's so much more to what I'm doing than sitting at a desk job.
Yeah.
And it always makes me happy to look at those and always think about, okay, what am I doing with the podcast? What am I doing with the YouTube videos? What am I doing with everything else? And then just the passion I get to work on that stuff. It just makes me feel better. So if you've got something that just reminds you of the concert that's, not the poster so no one fucking rips that thing. You keep that thing in pristine condition. So it's you're having a bad day, you can pull it out, just take a look at it and remember just how good everything can be and how good life is.
Yeah.
So that's one suggestion I have for you.
That's a very good suggestion.
Well, I'll put it this way: whether you take it, whether you don't, I'm just wanting to let you know. So if you ever need to look at something like that, just again when you're at school, because you can always go home and look at the poster and be like, "Oh yeah, now I feel good." Yeah, well, Cadence, I gotta say, I was not expecting to go an hour and 48 minutes on a conversation with you, but I am so damn glad I did.
Yeah, same.
And what was that? I'm sorry if I cut you off again.
Oh, it's fine. This was a great conversation. One of the best I've had in a while.
Yes, I'm glad I could bring that kind of value. Woohoo! I kind of like a Mario, woohoo! Do 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 do. All right, well, I'm gonna let you go because it's both getting pretty late and been on the phone for a while, and my brain is kind of fried.
Same.
All right, well, Cadence, again, thank you for coming back to the podcast again for your second appearance. Thanks for talking about Disguised by Motionless in White with us. And, well, I'll put it this way. I remember after the first time I said I'd love to have you on the podcast again, and we got to do this again.
Oh, most definitely. And you're welcome. Anytime.
I don't know when we're going to do it, but we'll do it again.
Mm-hmm.
All righty, well, thank you very much, and have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was a conversation for the ages, especially the second half of that one. So, yeah, I kind of went in a lot of more of the theory stuff that's in my head and a lot of stuff that I like to say. And I hope that, again, I hope it brings a lot of value to Cadence. I really hope it does. I hope it brings a lot of value to you guys as well because, well, it's always what we try and do here is bring the value. My God, am I getting weird. Alrighty, one last thing before I go. One last thought. That conversation was recorded on a Saturday night going into a Sunday morning. It ended at about 12:39 a.m. on a Saturday night into Sunday morning. So, put it this way. I didn't go out Saturday night. I haven't gone out for Saturday night on a Saturday night in months. Now I think about it. One thing I always think about when it comes to it is there's a classic Arnold Schwarzenegger quote. It is like, it is important to have fun in life, yes. But just remember, when you're out there partying and horsing around, someone else is working hard and someone else is winning. Just remember that. You can't climb the ladder of success with your hands in your pockets. And all the Saturday nights that I haven't gone out on, all the Friday nights I haven't gone out, all the times I've not gone and done stuff, or not like try to actually like go and do the fun stuff that a lot of people do. I mean, I'm saying fun now, it's not like it's bad because it can be fun. But why am I not doing that? I've got a drive. I've got a want. I got a will. I got an ambition for this to be the best thing ever. I want this too bad. And when you want something that bad, you're gonna make it work. You're gonna sacrifice a lot. And at times, the sacrifice is hard. It is hard when sometimes, like, hey, I got some time. Well, I got some time where it's like, I got some free time. I want to go hang out with some people. It's like, oh, well, we really don't want to. Or, the plans get canceled, something like that. Whatever it may be. But, geez, I mean, I want this just so damn bad. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make that work. Even if it is having a conversation for a podcast that's almost 2 hours long on a Saturday night going into a Sunday morning. And yes, I will be up on Sunday morning at 6:30 in the morning to go swimming. Yes, and I'm going to swim 2.5 freaking miles. Why? Because I want it bad. I want to be the goddamn best at this. There's a drive there. Because, it's not just because I wanted it, because that's what makes me happy. It makes me happy to do the stuff that I love. And what do I love? I love talking music with people. I love bringing value for people through music, and I can't get enough of it. So, now I'm kind of starting to rant, guys, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'll say this, that's going to be it for me today. So, again, thank you to Cadence for stopping by once again. Thank you for everybody else stopping by because I truly appreciate it. I appreciate you guys listening to me. As it stands right now, next week I have a very special guest because I got another band to interview. Maybe just the front man. His name's Jonathan, or John. Don't want to say his last name just now. And I cannot wait to talk to him because, shoot, what's the name of his band? It's going to kill me if I don't tell you guys. So, just let me look it up real quick. Because I feel like I should let you guys know who I could potentially have. Man, I cannot find this right now. And I'm going to start singing. So you guys might want to, probably no. Alrighty. Shoot, where's his stuff? I cannot find it right now, and I am not happy about this, guys. Why? Oh, got it. Next week, I should be interviewing Jonathan Norris, the frontman for Kingdom Collapse, a band out of San Antonio, Texas. If you guys like the Ascending to Ashes conversation, you're going to love this one. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening. This is Kevin from the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today Chord Progression Podcast. And you guys know how I end all this stuff. It's no surprise. See